Eagles will receive. The Vikings will kick off, and doing the kicking off will be Jan Stenerud. Les Steckel, first year head coach, Minnesota Vikings, replaced the legend up in the frozen tundra of Viking land, Bud Grant, after 17 seasons for Bud. He was the head coach of the Vikings 1967 through 1983, and of course, what a great record he compiled with the Vikings, Bud Grant. 151 wins, 87 losses, 5 ties, and in 17 regular seasons, Grant had the Vikings into the playoffs 12 times. He took them to 4 Super Bowls. So Les Steckel's got some large shoes to fill.
He certainly does, but I think he's capable of doing that.
Marion Campbell, second season head coach at Philadelphia, replacing Dick Vermeil. Vermeil taking the Eagles to the Super Bowl in 1980 against the then Oakland Raiders. And of course, the Swamp Fox, as he's known, Marion Campbell, a key cog in that Super Bowl team because he was the defensive coordinator for some 6 seasons. And during those 6 seasons when Marion shored up the defense for Dick Vermeil, the Eagles allowed the fewest points in the NFL, averaging just 15.8 points allowed. You're looking at Jan Stenerud out of Montana State. Went there on a skiing scholarship. The all-time leading scorer in the National Football League. Back deep, Joe Hayes, number 84, the Philadelphia Eagles. So they're running a little bit late, but we're just about set to tee it up, partner.
That's right. We should expect a good physical football game today. Both teams need this win bad because they don't want to start the season with the 0-2 record. So if they go 1-1, if either team goes 1-1 today, it's a plus for their football team.
Stenerud boots from the 35. It's a low, wobbly kick. Hits on the 15, bounces over Andre Waters, and he fields in the end zone. The rookie from Cheney State made a rookie mistake. Should have come up and fielded the ball cleanly. But no harm, no foul, and the Eagles will break 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line. The veteran Ron Jaworski at quarterback. He has a healthy Wilbert Montgomery back, but you see Melvin Hooper gets the start instead of Mike Quick. Kenny Jackson, the rookie out of Penn State, he's exciting. John Spagnola, tight end. He's one of the best receivers and blockers for the Eagles. He is back healthy as well. Some problems, though, on the offensive line, Drew.
Well, they're not set. They've got a lot of players injured, and they're a makeshift offensive line for this game.
Kenny Jackson out wide to the left. The backs are split. Hubie Oliver, the fullback, 34. Wilbert Montgomery, the halfback, number 31. And Jaworski puts it up on 1st and 10. Safety valve. Hubie Oliver out of the backfield. He's known as the Rock Man, and he bangs his way up across the 27-yard line. It brings up 2nd and 3. The 3-4 defense of the Minnesota Vikings shored up by former Eagle Charlie Johnson in the middle. At linebacker, of course, Matt Blair, the great one. He's retired. Robin Senline filling some large shoes there. He's done a good job. And Scott Studwell, very active in the middle. Freddie Neal. The secondary, some problems. Their number 1 draft choice of last year, Joey Browner, being benched. Carl Lee gets the job. It's his to win or lose this afternoon. There's what Jaworski did last week against the New York Giants. Too little too late, though. They were behind big at halftime and couldn't quite catch up.
That's right. Well, they played a good football game in the second half, and they had to come back, and in the coming back, they just couldn't get the ball back in the last 5 minutes. Their defense wouldn't give it up, and just made some problems for them.
I guess they've got to change the battery in the 30-second clock. They'll wind down and put in a new cell or two. Short yardage situation for the Philadelphia Eagles. And, of course, they come in with some injuries. Steve Kenny, sprained ankle last week against the Giants. Dean Maraldi at tackle, a twisted knee. You saw the series record, which the Vikings lead, 8 victories to 1. Jackson out wide to the right side. Now he shifts the backs. Oliver along with Wilbert Montgomery. Hoover out wide left. Kenny Jackson at the 42-yard line, incomplete, in and out of his arms right in front of the Minnesota Viking bench. Carl Lee, who's getting his first start, back there on the coverage. As you look at that play develop right in front of the Minnesota bench, the Eagles used to be on this side of the stadium. They switched over the other side. How come?
Well, I guess they wanted to get on TV. The TV cameras are on this side, so all the Eagles can get face shots now instead of neck shots. So I guess it's important to them.
How about those late season games in December, though? Because now where the Eagles are, they're over in the sun, so the visiting team, they'll be a little colder.
That's right, and I know what that sideline is like over there. It gets pretty cold on that side of the field.
2nd and a short 2 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Spagnola and Cab, the double tights. Pitch back, Wilbert Montgomery. First down, Philadelphia across the 30-yard line. Scott Studwell came up to make the tackle. Blocking on the right side by Leonard Mitchell. In there for Jerry Sizemore and Ron Baker. talking to Wilbert Montgomery at the Eagles practice on Friday, he said, we just did not have the good concentration today. He was concerned that a somewhat lackadaisical practice on Philadelphia's part might carry over to game time.
You know, sometimes on Fridays when you have those practices, I know in Dallas when we had those practices, sometimes the best games we played that following Sunday is when we didn't have good practices. So it really isn't a good indication of what's going to happen on Sunday.
Slot to the left, Jackson outside, Hoover inside, motion by Montgomery across. Jaworski will throw on first down again. Penalty flags down. Looks like a holding call. It's Charlie Johnson with a sack, the former Philadelphia Eagle, pressured by Doug Martin.
Time Jaworski was looking for Wilbert Montgomery. You know, Wilbert Montgomery is an excellent receiver downfield. He wanted to play wide receiver, but Wilbert Montgomery is not one to rock the boat, and he's satisfied playing running back, and I think the main thing for him is he wants to be on the football field. But he ran a corner route on that play, and Jaworski just couldn't find him. And we got a lot of penalties on this play.
Last week against the Giants, Wilbert had 4 catches, 47 yards.
Holding, 74, 10 yards, still first down.
That is Leonard Mitchell, a first-round draft pick of Philadelphia out of Houston, actually signed on as a defensive player, switched over to the offensive line. Let's see if we can pick up the holding call.
You can see on the right-hand side of the screen there, Jim, Leonard Mitchell is drafted by the Philadelphia Eagles as a defensive lineman. He's his second year at offensive tackle, and he just gets a good hold of Doug Martin there. And
nickel back in for the Vikings, Rufus Bess. Motion across, Hubie Oliver. Convoy for Wilbert Montgomery. Across the 30-yard line. Back to the original line of scrimmage. Mark Mullaney in there in the hit defensively for the Minnesota Vikings.
You know, Jim, if the Vikings could get Wilbert Montgomery on the same track as he was in about 3 or 4 years ago, before all the injuries became a problem for him, then they're going to be a good football team. He's the one that adds a lot of dimension to their offense.
There's what he did against the New York Giants last week. But, of course, not a true indication because the Eagles had to throw the ball most of the second half.
That's right. Wilbert was disappointed he didn't touch the football more. But when you're behind by 21 points at halftime, 3 and 4 yards a clip is not going to get you back in the football game.
Jaworski looks at 2nd and 11 from his own 30-yard line. Jackson left, Hoover right. Montgomery coming at you. Upended at the 37-yard line. Tommy Hannon made the tackle. You know, in talking with the Vikings as they arrived at their hotel last night, Scott Studwell was very concerned about Wilbert Montgomery having a big game against him.
Well, he knows what Wilbert Montgomery can do. He knows he's an effective back. He's one of the top backs in the National Football League. He just was beset or had problems with injuries for the last couple years, and now he's healthy. And when Wilbert Montgomery is healthy, he's very effective.
You know Wilbert's wife, Cheryl, pretty well. She's a former Dallas Cowboy cheerleader.
That's right. A lot of those pass routes, when I was winded, I would look to her, and she would give me inspiration.
Double tight end for Jaworski and the Eagles. Spagnola and Cab are in there. Back, Montgomery, and Hubie Oliver. Hubie Oliver, the rock man from Arizona, bangs his way close to the 40-yard line, but not nearly enough for first down. So we'll see the Eagles now. And a change in punters for Philadelphia. Max Runiger is gone. Marion Campbell made a lot of personnel changes this year. Michael Horan out of Long Beach State averages over 50 yards per punt.
He's tough. It makes him tough. He's a left-footed punter, so the spin of the ball is different, and it drops a little quicker into the receiver's arms. And let's see if they're going to have any trouble feeling this punt.
Rufus Bess back deep, awaits at the Minnesota 20-yard line. Vikings first possession coming up if he can get this cleanly. Bess approaches. It's a short, wobbly kick, and it takes a Minnesota bounce backwards at the 36-yard line where the Eagles down it. So Tommy Kramer and the Minnesota Vikings will break out 1st and 10. It's their first possession. It's 0-0. The Vikings and the Eagles early in the first quarter.
It's Saturday, October 13th. Something's about to happen that's never happened before. In over 120 cities, people are joining together to be part of the Stroh's Run for Liberty, a 5-mile run where your entry fee helps restore the statue. Sponsored by Stroh's and supported by Brooks Shoes. This is not just for runners, it's for everyone. But most of all, it's for her. So call to enter or sign up wherever you buy Brooks Shoes or Stroh's beer.
There, that's Tom Lee's car. Tom wasn't a State Farm policyholder when we met, but he had a claim against one of my policyholders that started about here and went all the way over to there. Well, we smoothed things out for Tom, and he was pretty impressed. But that's not unusual. Ask your neighbors. Fast, fair claim service is one reason more of your neighbors insure with State Farm than anyone else. Ask anyone. If you know Tom Lee, ask him.
And like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
The Liberty Bells, when you played here at Veterans Stadium, did you ever sneak a peek?
Yeah, they're very distracting. They always put them right behind the visiting team's bench to try to break your concentration. It usually works.
Minnesota Vikings start 1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line. Let's take a look at the offense now. Tommy Kramer back healthy. Ted Brown. You notice, of course, Darren Nelson not in there. How about Alfred Anderson? 3-4 days ago, he figures to be sitting on the bench. He finds himself starting, and now he's starting at a different position.
That's right. And he was a high school quarterback in Texas. Good one, too.
Sammy White out wide to the left side. Mike Jones deployed to the top of your screen. Kramer bends in. Gives the ball to Ted Brown, and Brown bangs across the 40, bowls his way up to the 43. Good blocking on the left side by Curtis Rouse and Steve Riley. Herm Edwards and Wes Hopkins over there defensively for Philadelphia.
Well, Jim, just like Philadelphia, Minnesota depends a lot on Ted Brown.
Offensive line of the Minnesota Vikings, they've got some problems too, because all kinds of pressure put on Tommy Kramer last week in that devastating loss to San Diego. You notice Joe Sensor is not there. Steve Jordan gets the call at tight end. Mike Jones comes out wide to the left side, and Sammy White, 9-year veteran from Grambling, at the top of your screen. Motion across, that's Mike Mularkey. Kramer's first aerial. He's got Sammy White. It's hammered loose at the 41 of Philadelphia. Wilson was back there on the coverage, but that was a catchable ball for Sammy White.
Yeah, it was, and I'm surprised to see Sammy dropped it. He dropped one last week, and he complained last week because he wasn't getting any action, and get action early here. It just runs a little slanting route. Ball is thrown right there, and Sammy just kind of jumped, and when you jump, you lose concentration because your eyes move, and receiver coaches like to tell receivers to keep their feet on the ground unless it's necessary to jump up to catch the football. But that's unlike the seasoned veteran like Sammy White to drop a pass that wide open.
Dropped the only one that was thrown to him last week. You can't have much of a Viking offense unless you got Sammy White involved.
That's right.
3rd and 3. Kramer with lots of time, and he's got his man looping out Leo Lewis out of Missouri. That should be a Minnesota first down comfortably. Watch the coverage.
Good route by Lewis. He's getting man-to-man coverage. He just pushes the cornerback deep. Elbert fouls and comes back to the sideline to catch the ball. He knows where the first down is. He's only needed 3 yards. Got 7 on the play. You
wide receivers like to see cornerbacks playing off you like that.
Yeah, we like to see a big cushion there, and that time Fowles was giving Lewis a big cushion to work with.
1st and 10, Minnesota from midfield. Dwight Collins, the rookie from Pittsburgh, wide to the left side. Pitch back. This is Alfred Anderson. First carry, and he makes a nice move. Picks up 7. 2nd and 3. Jerry Robinson came crashing over to wrestle him out of bounds. 3-4 defense of the Philadelphia Eagles. Nose tackle Kenny Clark, who ironically replaced Charlie Johnson, who's now a Minnesota Viking, and Dennis Bigfoot Harrison. What's he? 15 triple E?
Yeah, size 15. They have a problem if he loses those shoes.
The linebackers, a good core. They're very active. They hope that Joel Williams can regain the intensity he had 2 years ago as an Atlanta Falcon. And the secondary, some holes there, and Drew will talk about that as the telecast unfolds. 2nd and 3. Kramer up top again. Lots of time again in the backfield. It's Steve Jordan. He was the man across, and that's a first down for Minnesota down at the 31. Reggie Wilkes on the coverage. And you've seen these Philadelphia fans get restless lots of times early in a ball game.
Yeah, well, they're restless right now, and the Boo Birds are definitely out here. They kind of live in Vet Stadium here, and they're always here. And Philadelphia doesn't play well. The fans responded in a negative way.
Tommy Kramer, when he's hot, can pick a secondary apart, and with Philadelphia's defensive problems, if he gets the time to throw the football, he could have a field day.
That's right, and so far he's getting that time, getting good protection to throw the football.
And the Eagles are not a blitzing team.
No, they're not. They're very conservative in their defensive schemes.
Not a good week for Tommy last week. No protection, and he admitted, as he told Drew Pearson, his timing was a little bit off. Teddy Brown sweeps left. Good pursuit that time. Wes Hopkins came up, made the tackle, number 48.
Well, this is what happens when you only find out you're going to be a fullback 3 days ago, and You come in here in the NFL trying to block as a rookie, you miss the block there. You can see Alfred Anderson missed that block on Wes Hopkins, and I guarantee you got to block Wes Hopkins because he'll put a hat on your head.
Wes Hopkins, second-round pick of Philadelphia out of SMU. His favorite athlete is?
Drew Pearson.
That's it.
I've known Wes ever since he was in the ninth grade. He used to come over to my house and eat barbecue all the time.
Tommy Kramer saw that 30-second clock ticking down, so on 2nd and 8, he decided to take a timeout. Vikings and Eagles scoreless midway through quarter one from Vet Stadium.
Look who's entered the personal computer game now.
Can I get in on this?
Go ahead. Introducing the AT&T Personal Computer for Business. Notice its speed and flexibility. The way it works for your business as a standalone machine or as a team player in a fully integrated system.
What's the card say?
Congratulations, you can run most business software programs. Move ahead 10 spaces.
Admire its graphics capabilities and high-resolution screen.
Still my move.
Still.
Count on more standard features and a tradition of AT&T reliability and service that can help put your business ahead of the game.
Your move.
The AT&T Personal Computer from AT&T Information Systems. When you've got to be right. To get in on the game, call 1-800-247-1212.
Along with Drew Pearson, I'm Jim Kelly, and welcome back to Veterans Stadium here in Philadelphia. It's been scoreless so far. The Vikings' initial possession and obviously deepest penetration of the football game down to the 27 of Philadelphia, 2nd and 8. What do the wide receivers like to have called back in the huddle?
Well, looks, on a 2nd and 8 situation, looks like a passing situation, and the receivers are begging for the ball in this situation. It looks like an in route over the middle against Philadelphia's defense because they play their zones with work in this situation.
Danger to the left. Sammy White and Mike Jones. Motioned by Jones across. They fake the end around. Kramer goes airborne. Here come the Eagles. Kramer dumps it off. He's got Brown out of the backfield. Brown across the 25. And he just lumbers out of bounds at about the 23-yard line. A pickup of 5.
He must have pulled something on that play. He's limping, he's down.
You know, it's very similar to what happened a week ago to Kurt Warner in Seattle. You could see the injury to Kurt as he tried to stretch for extra yardage. You could see Kurt Warner's knee pop, and let's see if we can see what happens to Ted Brown as he tries to stretch it.
Jim, this is the type of things that happen on AstroTurf. AstroTurf is great to play on when it's dry, but the footing is real sure, and you a lot of times get your foot caught in the turf. And Ted there is just standing there. I don't know what happened. He looks fine, and all of a sudden he just pulls up. He better hurry up and get out of bounds because these Eagles are coming after him. He's still down on the sideline.
3rd and about 2.5. Pitchback sweeping right is Allen Rice, and he is very close to first down yardage at the 20 of Philadelphia. Wilson in there in the tackle, the free agent out of Vanderbilt, who gets the start in place of Drew Pearson's old pal, Roynell Young.
Brown is up and he's moving, but it doesn't look good at this point. Might have just caught a cramp, just a little tightness in his leg. Hopefully that's all it is.
Each stadium that has artificial surface has different characteristics.
That's right. A lot of time the grain goes different on some surfaces, and depends on how much that surface is used, if it's used for baseball and football. As we see the St. Louis score, they're doing good over Buffalo.
Chicago gets a field goal 38 yards out from Bob Thomas to go up over the Broncos. Detroit lost a tough game to San Francisco a week ago. They take a 7-0 lead, 9-yard touchdown run. Who do you suppose ran it in?
Billy Sims, of course.
Out of the hold of Steve Dills, the 18-year veteran Jan Stenerud. 38-yard try coming out, hash mark to the far side. Good hold by Dills after a bad snap, and Stenerud is perfect. Jan Stenerud, who had field goals in 5 of the Green Bay Packers' 8 wins last year, 2 of them in overtime, puts Minnesota up 3-0.
Nearly 4 hours. That's how long it took us to paint this room with a roller. Then we painted it in less than 1 hour with the new Wagner Power Roller. A living room that took nearly 7 hours. The Wagner Power Roller finished in less than 3. The Power Roller pumps paint straight from the can to the roller or to any of several optional accessories. Why waste your time painting a pan when you could be painting your walls instead? The Wagner Power Roller, the right tool for painting.
So hold up. Go. Lighten the load. Lighten the load. Throw down the trunk. They're catching up. Get rid of the Strohs.
Get rid of the Strohs.
Good thinking, Bart.
Yep.
Strohs and Stroh Light. Fire brewed for smoother taste.
You know, when you think of the Vikings as far as the place kicking is concerned, you think of Benny Ricardo. He was waived this year. He pulled a hamstring muscle his first day of camp. Then he had some calcium deposits on his back. But Benny Ricardo was a good kicker for the Vikings. And eight wins last year for Minnesota. 6 of those victories were decided by Benny Ricardo's right foot. But when the injury occurred, Les Steckel wasted no time and went out and got the 18-year veteran Jan Stenerud, who bangs it 4 yards deep in the end zone to Joe Hayes, who decides to bring it out. Hayes across the 20-yard line. Dangerous play.
Well, Joe Hayes had his problems back there last week. He fumbled 2 kickoffs. The Eagles did recover the fumbles, but it gave the Eagles bad field position, and he brought this one out with a good field position.
Well, as we traveled from the Eagles practice to the Vikings hotel yesterday, we were able to catch a little bit of that with Pat Summerall and Tony Trabert. What a great match that was with Lendl and Cash, and McEnroe and Connors. You can watch them play all day. Yeah, sets up a great final between the numbers 1 and 2 seeds, McEnroe and Lendl. I guess with those two playing the way they can sometimes get spirited, Jim Tunney might have to go over there and referee that match, huh?
That's right.
Eagles' second possession. They start just across their own 20. They trail 3-zip. Kenny Jackson. Loose football. And they say the whistle had blown. Eagles get a big break.
That was a good pop on Kenny Jackson. #1 draft choice from Penn State. Tackled by Mark Stewart on a play. And Mark Stewart's a very good athlete. Ran a 9.600 in high school. He plays linebacker at 6'2", 232.
Kenny Jackson, what a personable young man, very articulate. Asked him what the biggest adjustment was he had to make from college to pro ball, and he said in college they try to hide the fact that it's actually a job. He said actually in the pros, he said it's a 9-to-5 job 7 days a week, and they never let you forget it. 2nd and 12. Little trap to Hubie Oliver. And Rockman pulls his way to the 27 in the grasp of Freddie McNeil.
The Eagle running game, which had problems last year, is getting off to a good start today.
Last week, as far as rushing goes, Hubie Oliver had 2 carries for just 7 yards. There's what he's done in his career since coming out of Arizona. Third and a short 2 for Philadelphia. Out wide to the left side. Melvin Hoover, Jackson to the near side. Still have not seen John Spagnola involved at tight end. Well, Doug Martin wanted the football, and he wanted a piece of Jaworski.
I think he was offsides. It's a good move, though, but nobody was ready for it. Martin coming off. Defensive lineman's got to watch the football. Jaworski's good at changing his cadence, changing his rhythm to throw the defense off. But if you watch that football, it shouldn't cause you any problems.
Doug Martin led the Vikings in sacks for the 3rd consecutive year last year. Maybe that's why that quick start.
Well, he gets off the ball. He's very quick. He's not that big. He's big, but he's not that big for a defensive lineman. But he gets off the ball quick, and he has excellent strength and quickness.
He's pretty versatile, too, Drew. He played left end in the 3-4, and then he goes over and plays left tackle in the 4-3.
Very valuable to the Viking defensive schemes.
1st and 10 after the penalty. Kenny Jackson to the top of the screen. Hoover to the near side. Backs are split again. Montgomery and Hubie Oliver. Incomplete at the 38-yard line. Mark Mullaney, the man that deflected at the line of scrimmage. Crowd is booing because there was some contact, but that was after the ball had been deflected.
But once that ball is deflected, it's open season on any receiver out there. Once that ball is touched and is floating around there. We got word on Ted Brown that he has a bruised thigh. They're not sure if he's going to return for today.
What does that do to a quarterback in terms of his game plan, perhaps? All of a sudden he looks around, Ted Brown is not in there. Darren Nelson is not in there. He says, wait a minute.
Well, it's got to hurt Minnesota. There's no question about that. Ted Brown is very valuable to their offensive philosophies.
2nd and 10. Jaworski goes airborne. Wide open over the middle. First down. Mel Hoover. Big catch in midfield. A pickup of 17 yards. Tommy Hannon on the hit.
Second down situation here, and passing down, but they don't use the shotgun here. Jaworski gets good protection to throw the football and just finds Hoover over the middle. Hoover's filling in for Mike Quick. Penalty on the play, but it's going to go against the Vikings.
Mel Hoover out of Arizona State. His average last year, 22 yards per catch, was the highest among the Eagle receivers, and coaches say he actually was a strong challenger for a starting berth.
Added to the end of the run. First down.
15 yards tacked on after the catch. Late hit, so it's the Eagles' deepest penetration. They start from the 35 of Minnesota now, 1st and 10. They trail 3-0 by virtue of that Jan Stenerud 38-yard field goal.
I talked to Marion Campbell yesterday, and they wanted to open up their offense. Ted Marshall-Brodeur is their new offensive coordinator, and he's doing different things with their offense. As we can see here today so far, the Eagles are throwing a lot on first down, opening things up.
That's the last regular season meeting between the Vikings and Philadelphia. Wide receivers left and right. Jackson top of the screen. Hoover to the bottom. Play action fake to Montgomery. Jaworski fires over the middle, and he's got Kenny Jackson at the 18-yard line. The rookie from Penn State.
Well, those are the toughest ones to catch, those ones over the middle. When I used to play, I used to call that the Drew zone. A lot of receivers don't like to go in there. Everybody can go deep. But see how he breaks down his route? He works the zone coverage, and he gets the little bump and feels the area. And Jaworski's got one of the strongest arms in the National Football League. He can throw that ball inside. Eagles are moving.
And talking to Kenny Jackson at the Eagles practice, I asked him who's been the biggest help to him, and he said Ron Jaworski. He tries to build your confidence up all the time.
Well, you're supposed to say that. You know, the quarterback's always your best buddy.
1st and 10, Philadelphia. Hubie Oliver blocking inside. Petey Perot, Dean Miraldi, and Doug Martin was there to make the tackle.
Well, the question becomes now is we got the ball down here inside the 20. Can we push it in the end zone? We don't want to settle for a field goal. We want to go for the touchdown. Let's see if Philadelphia can get that ball in the end zone. If they keep throwing the ball like they are, they'll get it in there.
Line of scrimmage, the 12-yard line. Kenny Jackson goes out to the top of your screen. Hoover to the bottom side. Jaworski, as he bends in, 4 for 6, 41 yards. Wilbert Montgomery hammers his way down to the 10, but not much doing. The hole sealed off by Freddie McNeil.
What that does, Jim, is it creates a tough situation for the 3rd down play. You got 3rd and about 3 or 4, and it's a tough situation, tough play to call in this situation. Usually look for your tight end. Try to work him over the middle. He picks up, if he gets linebacker coverage.
3rd and 4 for Philadelphia. There is Marion Campbell and what he's done in 2 seasons as the head coach here in Philadelphia. He was a Philadelphia Eagle defensive lineman in 1956. Came over from San Francisco, and he played with the Eagles in the championship team back in 1960. Slot to the left side. Jaworski releases to Montgomery, and incomplete at the 4. Wilbert, like a volleyball, batted it around and just could not hang on. You don't see Wilbert Montgomery drop too many like that.
He's an excellent receiver, and he usually a sure-handed receiver, and he's got the speed to work on linebackers. It's a good play in this situation because it's a good safe pass. Jaworski just gets it away, and Montgomery bobbles it, and you think you're going to get it on that second tip, but sometimes it sticks, sometimes it doesn't.
Paul McFadden, the rookie out of Youngstown State. Eagles top-heavy with Penguins from Youngstown State. That's where Ronnie Jaworski went. And McFadden said, boy, it's great having a former schoolmate here. He made him feel right at home. McFadden, of course, replaces the departed Tony Franklin. Out of the hold of Ron Jaworski, a 27-yard try for the barefoot boy, and the kick is good. So one barefoot boy replaces another. Tony Franklin said he would have sat out the year rather than play another year in Philadelphia, and Coach Marion Campbell told us yesterday that would not have been his choice. The Eagles and the Vikings deadlocked at 3 apiece. First quarter winding down.
Dodge Daytona Turbo Z. It is an American revolution.
When night comes out to play,
Turn it loose with the silver bullet. Find it, catch it, grab it, pull it. It's the right light one when you hit the town. Coors Light will never, ever, ever slow you down. Midnight, party right. Turn it loose with the silver bullet tonight.
Coors Light Beer.
Emergency medicine calls for expert diagnosis.
I think he's fine. I could be wrong.
Elliot Gould stars in ER.
This is a big needle.
Paul McFadden will tee it from the 35. Rufus Best, number 21, is back deep for the Minnesota Vikings along with Alfred Anderson. He's getting a workout. Game he didn't expect to play in.
Well, he is. He's a good athlete. He can handle the situation.
Short, wobbly kick goes out of bounds at the 10-yard line. So we'll do it again from the 30. You know, some of the Eagles that you and I both talked to on Friday said it was important, they thought, mentally, not to fall behind. They would like to get out to a little bit of a lead and then be able to play a little more relaxed.
That's right. That's what happened in the New York game. They fell behind and had trouble coming back, and it just changes the complexion of their game plan. So now they want to get a lead and see if they can stick to their game plan and win a football game.
Looks like another infraction on the kickoff in addition to the kick that went out of bounds. So we'll check with Jim Tunney after the officials straighten this one out.
Jim Tunney's getting a good workout so far early in the first quarter.
We've got 3:53 left to go in that first quarter, and so far 2 field goals. 38 yards from Jan Stenerud, 27
We have
from
a double
Paul McFadden.
foul. Kickoff out of bounds is penalized 5 yards, but it's nullified because of the personal foul against 58. The personal foul will be penalized from the 35. We will kick off from the 50.
I guess a personal foul is more important than kicking out of bounds, right?
I guess so.
That is Walker Lee Ashley from Penn State. Personal foul, very costly. Now the kickoff. When you see a kicker line up at the 50-yard line, do you want him to kick it high and maybe give you bad field position, or just want him to kick it in the end zone?
Well, you want to kick it high and hope your coverage can get down there under it and hopefully get the Vikings to start this particular drive inside their own 20-yard line.
How about an onside kick? Not a bad time for the element.
Not a bad time. That's a good suggestion there. You ever coached before?
I got enough problems up here. Squib kick into the end zone. There will be no run back. Rufus Best watches it sail through the end zone. So Marion Campbell does not want any coaching help and doesn't need any. Next Sunday here on CBS, many of you will see the Minnesota Vikings and the Atlanta Falcons, or the much improved Chicago Bears against the always explosive Green Bay Packers. It all starts, of course, with the NFL today. And then our doubleheader game, a man that has played in so many of those confrontations, the Eagles and the Cowboys. And that's always you strap your helmet on pretty well.
That's right. Interesting note there. Howard Carmichael, who's such a problem, a thorn in the side of the Dallas Cowboys for so many years, is now a Dallas Cowboy playing against the Philadelphia Eagles. That should be interesting.
Cowboys hurting at wide receiver. They've got Doug Donnelly, who had a great Monday night effort, but of course with the retirement of my partner Drew Pearson and the trading of Butch Johnson, they're a little thin in the receiving corps. First and 10, Tommy Kramer. A little misdirection to Alfred Anderson. Eagles not buying, and here comes a penalty flag from. He threw that one almost as far as Tommy Kramer's first pass.
He's got a pretty good arm, that referee. A lot of penalties, a little sloppy in the early goings of this game. Teams have to settle down and get within the flow. They can't get anything going with these penalties.
Costly holding call. Vikings hurting themselves with mistakes now. The personal foul on the kickoff cost them 15 yards, and now a holding call. Joel Williams, the man that made the tackle there on Alfred Anderson. And as you think about Joel Williams, how about the intensity? Marion Campbell trying to get Joel back to where he was 2 years ago.
Oh, and Joel played
during the run. Number 66 penalized half the distance, 10 yards, still first down.
That's the fourth penalty, 45 yards against the Vikes, partner.
Well, Joel, when he was with Atlanta, he was a great sacker. Whoa, there's a big score there. The New York Giants up on my old team, the Dallas Cowboys, 14-0 early in the first quarter. Phil Simms must be hot again.
He picked up right where he left off, Simms did last week against these Eagles. A 62-yarder to Byron Williams, and then a 16-yarder to Linnell Manuel. So it's 14-0 Giants, and you saw the Bengals score as well. And of course, Dallas, the second half of our doubleheader game next week against the Philadelphia Eagles. Complete out of the backfield at the 15-yard line, the rookie from Baylor, Allen Rice. Anthony Griggs and Joel Williams, as they say, in the vicinity.
Well, we're talking about Joel Williams when he was with Atlanta. It was a great blitzer, played with a lot of intensity, but it just hasn't been happening here for him in Philadelphia, and he gets worked on there by the rookie Rice. It's a short game, but effective pass.
Well, Marion Campbell said that Joel was really hampered by his late arrival here, and then, of course, he had to learn the new system. Then he had the injury, but if he can get him back to the way he played with what they call him, the grits blitz down there.
Yeah, he was tough.
Kramer.
Philadelphia doesn't blitz us.
4 out of 5. 32 yards for Tommy. Out of the backfield, that's approaching the 25-yard line to Alan Rice once again. Anthony Griggs, the man that was in there on the tackle. Alan Rice, the rookie, and he was a teammate of Alfred Anderson's at the University of Tennessee. Or Baylor?
That's right, at Baylor. They were teammates, and they didn't play that much in the same backfield. They kind of played the same position, but they're both effective. Alan Rice is the 5th-round draft choice to make the team.
3rd and 4 for the Minnesota Vikings. 2:25 left. The first quarter. We're tied at 3. Slot formation to the right side. The tight end, Steve Jordan, 83. White and Jones deployed to the top. Motion coming near you is Mike Jones. Incomplete in front of the Viking bench at the 45. Mike Jones, I think he just mistimed his jump a little bit.
I think so. The ball, you got to throw it with a lot of force on it. Kramer brought it in there, but it looked like it was a little overthrown there. Would have been a heck of a catch if Jones could have came down.
Greg Coleman back to do the punting. 8-year veteran from Florida A&M, averaging about 42.5 yards per kick. Cooper, 21, back deep for Philadelphia. That's what Kramer did last week. He had a busy afternoon against San Diego. And against the San Diego Chargers, Coleman put 3 of them out of bounds inside the 20-yard line. Eagles got to Coleman, but no flag. Fair catch called for by Cooper at the 29. Coleman goes over and says something to Jim Tunney, but Tunney says bring the chains all the way down. So the Eagles will start 1st and 10 from their own 29-yard line. Second possession. Let's take a look and see what you think, Drew Pearson. Was it roughing the kicker?
Minnesota's very noted for their specialty team play, and that's incidental contact right there. There's definitely no interference. The receiver can't act. Kicker punter can't act anymore. He has to play it off.
Today's cars do things yesterday's cars didn't.
Please fasten seatbelt.
Their smaller, higher revving engines can break down an oil's viscosity within 1,500 miles. The tests show Castrol suffers no significant breakdown of viscosity even after 5,000 miles. So listen to your car.
Exceeding recommended RPM.
It may be telling you something. Castrol, engineered for smaller cars.
Little sharks and big sharks, shooting from the hip sharks. Light sharks, bright sharks, boogie through the night sharks.
There's an awful lot going on in video these days, and it's all going on at Sharp.
Cheap sharks, sleek sharks, anything you seek sharks.
Sharp Video. From sharp minds come sharp products.
His timing. 2:02 left to go in this first quarter. Eagles' second possession coming out wide to the bottom of your screen. The rookie from Penn State, Kenny Jackson, Eagles' #1 draft pick. Melvin Hoover moves inside in the slot. Hubie Oliver, fullback, and motion across by Montgomery. Jaworski, 3 straight times. He'll throw on first down. Misses Wilbert Montgomery, who had beaten the secondary. Carl Lee and Tommy Hannon in the vicinity, but Montgomery had a couple of steps.
That's the same play they ran earlier. They're still trying to work Montgomery on a linebacker on a corner route. The Eagles opening up their offense, still throwing on first down. It's been effective for them so far.
I'm very surprised we've not seen Spagnuolo, the tight end, on the receiving end of the Jaworski pass. Spags is back healthy. Marchibroda likes to get the tight end. He likes to get everybody involved. In fact, that's one of the things Montgomery said was so pleasing about Marchibroda's new offense, throwing more to the backs than they did last year and to the tight end. But we haven't seen number 88. Montgomery wide left. Hoover and Jackson wide right. Complete to Spagnola up near the 38-yard line. Freddie McNeil back there on the coverage. Well, we talk about the tight end part.
Well, I knew before long they would go to him because he's an excellent receiver. He didn't catch anything last week, but he knows how to run routes. He gets inside here on the left-hand side of your screen. You can see him working on the linebacker. And he comes out, feels the zone, and settles down, puts the ball away, and takes a good lick. Good protection up front. You can see big Leonard Mitchell there controlling Doug Martin. Good protection for Jaworski. Steps up in that pocket and slangs it.
3 tight ends in for Philadelphia. Spagnola, Cab, and Stapleton on a short yardage situation. 3rd and about 1.5. Wilbert Montgomery needs a block. Won't get it. 4th down situation for the Eagles. Just no blocking as Baker, Petey Perot, and Leonard Mitchell were out there, but good lateral movement along the line of scrimmage that time for the Vikes.
Yeah, Jim, that's a tough play to call on a 3rd and 2 situation. You just like to call a quick hitter up the middle, something that can happen fast, but when they string it out like that, very seldom you're going to get the first down on 3rd and 2. Michael
Horan, and a rather poor first effort so far against the Vikings, and Rufus Bess, who's been busy on kickoffs and punt returns, standing back at the 18 of the Vikes. This a high spiraling kick. Beautiful kick by Horan. It backs him up to the 12-yard line. Bess bumped out of bounds at the 20. An 8-yard return, but good hang time that time. Lawrence Stapleton bumped him out of bounds. Well, we're in our 2nd week of NFL football, and we kick off our 1st week of college football next week. The Washington Huskies, and of course they defeated Northwestern rather handily, much to Irv Cross's dismay, 26-0 yesterday. How about Michigan over Miami, 22-14? So that'll be a good one.
That's right. Good football teams. Both teams are favorites, are at the top of the pack in their respective conferences, and Michigan a big game last week.
And on CBS Sports Saturday, Thomas Hitman Hearns back in action. And the Woodward Futurity. Check the spelling. Consult your local listing. Out of the backfield, Alfred Anderson. Huge hole. He breaks one at the 35. Bangs his way across the 40, up to the 43. 224 pounds coming at you. A 23-yard pickup and an injured Eagle down at the 35. Looks to be Wes Hopkins across there. Boy, did he take a hit from Alfred Anderson.
That's right. It was a big collision there. Wes is a big hitter. He likes to be aggressive and likes to hit. But that time he ran into Alfred Anderson that had a lot of steam going, and Anderson runs a 4.5 40.
Here it is again, and watch the collision.
It's a good pass on 1st down, just a swing pass. He gets some room. When he gets that room, he's in the open field. He picks up that steam, lowers that shoulder, and just runs right over Wes Hopkins. Wes Hopkins is still down.
That Dallas score was just announced here at Veterans Stadium. That was what the roar was for. It's 14-0. The New York Giants on top over the Cowboys. And of course you'll see the Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys as the 2nd half of our doubleheader next week here on CBS.
Wilson got shaken up on that play too. Alfred Anderson, he's a wrecking crew.
Wes Hopkins still down, however, being attended to. The Eagles a little thin now. Roynell Young is out. They don't want to lose Wes Hopkins also.
That's right. They're a little thin in the secondary, but they got a rookie back there, Evan Cooper, that they're very, very high on. And if Hopkins can't continue to play, look for Cooper, number 21, to take his place.
You better help. Cooper's got a long and successful career. You know what he wants to be when he retires? Sportscaster.
Figured that.
20 seconds left to go in quarter number 1. We are tied at 3. Vikings at the 43-yard line. Elbert Fowles in there now. He replaces Bernard Wilson, who had replaced Roynell Young, and Evan Cooper is in. He replaces Wes Hopkins. So you've got Herm Edwards, the 8-year veteran from San Diego State, looking around at the Kitty Corps now as his teammates in the secondary. Tommy Kramer elects to run down the first quarter clock and go over and talk things over with Les Steckel. So we've had 2 field goals. Vikings scored first, a 38-yarder by Jan Stenerud. The Eagles drew even on a 27-yarder from Paul McFadden at the end of the first quarter.
A lot of people think America can't cut the mustard anymore, that quality counts for nothing and hard work for even less, and commitment, that went out with a hula hoop. Well, when you've been kicked in the head like we have, you learn pretty quick to put first things first. And in the car business, product comes first. And product is what brought us back to prosperity. High mileage, front-wheel drive, quality products. By the way, with the best safety recall record over the last 2 full model years of any American cars. Convertibles, they said nobody wanted, but everybody copied. Sports cars and luxury cars with turbos so powerful, so efficient, you'll never go back to a V8 again. And a wagon so versatile, so right for America today, we can't build enough of them. Not bad for a company that had one foot in the grave. Today, every man and woman at Chrysler has a commitment to build cars that will take on the best. We will build 2 sedans this fall, LeBaron GTS and Dodge Lancer, that will challenge BMW, Audi, even Mercedes for thousands less. And next year, we will build a small car right here in America with quality that we're determined will beat the Japanese at their own game. And we will build the best-backed American cars with 5-year or 50,000-mile protection. Quality, hard work, commitment. The stuff America was made of. Without them, there is no future. I have one and only one ambition for Chrysler, to be the best. What else is there?